From fitness enthusiast and engineer to marketing a new fitness product used by athletes all over the world and people trying to achieve their fitness goals, today's guest on My Best Life podcast is Srdjan from CrossRope. This is My Best Life podcast with Flavia Abadia. Welcome to My Best Life podcast. I'm Flavia Abadia, and today I have a very special guest. His name is Srdjan, and he's from CrossRope. It's a fitness program and rope used by fitness enthusiasts, athletes all around the world, and people trying to reach their fitness goals. It was also featured on Men's Fitness 2017 Top Gear Awards. And also, if you want to get 10% off this rope and program, you can go to crossrope.com/mybestlife and use the coupon code mybestlife at checkout.
10%.
Yeah, 10%. So thanks for joining us.
Flavia, it's awesome to be here. This is really exciting. Yeah.
First of all, before you even started working on your own company, what jobs did you have before and how did you get to be an entrepreneur?
It's a kind of long story, but it starts, I guess, with family, with parents, Eastern European parents, a lot of focus on school. So kind of ended up doing engineering, mechanical engineering, and went to University of Waterloo. So that was 5 grueling years of books and library, but that instilled, I guess, a lot of the work ethic and the principles and philosophies of my life that, went into this and everything I've done after that. So it's definitely 5 years that, I would do over again for sure. But the journey after that didn't, really play out as most would expect. So the first thing I did out of school, I took a trip to Thailand, came back and got my personal training certification, and the backstory to that is, I played sports, particularly basketball, since I can remember, since being a little kid. In high school, that led to a lot of weight room stuff, trying to get faster, stronger, so you can perform better on the court. And from those days, I've always loved fitness. Like, it was just a part of my life. It was a part of me. If I didn't go to the gym or find some way to be active, something felt like it was missing. So that kind of always stuck with me. So even throughout university, a lot of sports, a lot of gym, a lot of activities. And then once school ended, actually when I went to Thailand, I spent some time in a Muay Thai camp.
Nice.
Up in the north.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was an incredible experience, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. full day, kind of in a full Thai camp. Got the full experience that way. Came back, did the certification, and tying in all of that, I've always had a fascination for technology. So, I loved animation, I loved web design, I loved anything to do with the creative side and technology, and so that kind of led to playing around with blogging back in 2009, 2010. And at that point, I started what most people knew me at then was for my fitness blog, which is called Bloom to Fit. When I started it didn't really have a focus. It kind of developed over time. But really, I just wanted to start sharing what I loved about fitness, and combining that with my thirst for really understanding technology and how we can use that to influence people and impact people. So, to satisfy my parents, and obviously I needed to get a job. So, I started doing process engineering, typical engineering stuff out of school. So I did that full time. And on the side, I was building this fitness blog, and it started growing, started impacting more people. It started kind of getting a focus. I was really into kind of functional fitness. I really enjoyed, I wasn't too into any particular strength training or weight training or bodybuilding. I loved it all, but what I really loved was just the simplicity of functional fitness, being able to use functional training tools like jump ropes or kettlebells and such to be able to train anywhere. I kind of wanted that freedom where you didn't have to be in the gym. You didn't have to be confined to certain pieces of equipment. You can kind of use your body weight and just kind of keep things simple. So I always loved that, and that's what I always pushed. And over the years, I started kind of getting into jump rope training. It was one of those tools that just fit the bill. And funny enough, I still remember this, but I shot a couple YouTube videos just showing basic jump rope exercises. I
remember that, yeah.
I had one, it's called 23 jump rope exercises for a killer body. It's just, me in a gym, and I literally just showed 23 jump rope exercises, nothing exciting. And somehow that video picked up so much traction. It was, from what I know and what I've done when I was really into it at the time, there was probably the first video to ever hit 1 million views.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, about a guy jumping rope. So that was kind of cool. And that really got me interested to see what else I could do. But at the same time, that's kind of the first, I'd say, time I remember meeting my business partner now, Dave Hunt. He simultaneously started CrossRope back in 2010, 2011, kind of like when I started.
Okay.
And I had this video that was doing well, and he kind of started, and somehow we found each other.
Was it through the internet, I guess?
Oh, of course, yeah. So, he had what I thought at the time was a phenomenal product, and we can talk about it a little bit more, but he had this great product, and I had this video, and the one question that was always coming up from people was, what jump rope do you recommend? You're showing us these exercises. Which one should I get? And I never really had a go-to answer. I mean, there are a lot of jump rope has been around, or jumping rope has been around for hundreds of years or 100 years. Athletes have been using it boxers have been using it for a long time. So the typical responses were, very cheap ropes, which was good. But the problem was they weren't very durable. They were constantly breaking or getting replaced. And I wanted something different. And Dave, he had created this really unique system where you can clip the ropes in and out of the handles. And what that allows you to do is utilize different weights of ropes. You're kind of now introducing resistance into this old school style of training. So
the rope has weight in it.
Yeah. So the rope itself, the system is pretty simple. I mean, how I explain it to people.
Open it.
Yeah. But this is surprise, the new thing.
Okay.
So a typical jump rope has been always used for cardiovascular training. It's a great endurance tool. A lot of people use it for warming up or for longer sessions. But the problem was when you look at any other form of training, if you're going to go to a gym and use dumbbells, for example, if you're going to be training for an extended period of time, you're not going to only stick to one weight of dumbbells. You're going to want to progress over time. And so we wanted to introduce a similar thing, and that's what he did introduce, is this system where now you can progress or change from lighter ropes to heavier ropes and back, and now you can cater that to different fitness goals. And so that was really interesting to me, and we ended up, kind of meeting up. I became his, I started selling the ropes through my channel, promoting his ropes as an affiliate. And, we worked together, kind of running our own thing side by side. We were constantly talking, sharing ideas. And then, back in 2015, the company started getting some traction. And we have already done a couple of trade shows together. He asked me to come and help out. And from there, he was in a position where he needed somebody to handle basically all of the marketing that was required to get CrossRope off the ground and to bring it to where it is today. And he offered me the position. And, at the time I was at another engineering firm. It was a great position, great company, but this was a once in a lifetime opportunity that to this day I'm thankful I took, because it's been one hell of a ride since then. So yeah, we've been working together since. The company's actually based in the US, so we have a remote working situation, but since then we've been able to bring more people into the team. The company has grown. We've had a tremendous year this year, and that's kind of what led to this, and I can show it to you guys now.
So where in the U.S. is it based?
So it's kind of been all over the place for a little while because Dave was in he was in the Navy, so he was stationed in different places, and then once he got out, we just this past year got kind of, if you want to say, located in North Carolina. So it's it's in North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina. Opened up an office there, and then in terms of the remote stuff, you know, our marketing team is here in Toronto, so it's kind of a very unique situation. It has its pros and cons like everything else, but yeah, it's been good. It's been good.
And before we get to this special surprise, I know lots of athletes have actually used this, like LeBron James, which is amazing. Are there any other like exciting athletes that have used your ropes?
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of pivoted a lot in terms of who these ropes can cater to, because it's a training tool that can fit so many molds, I guess. I mean, so many different people can use it to achieve different things, whether it be boxers or MMA athletes, or, you know, or just general fitness enthusiasts looking to achieve a specific fitness goal. So, you know, we've pursued the athletic route for a while, and we, you know, had some good success. We've, like you said, Cleveland Cavaliers have been using the ropes. Funny enough, I was watching one of the games, and you could see during one of the timeouts a guy skipping in the back, and you can see using CrossRope.
Cool.
So that was really a cool moment. We had the Rangers use it. We got some really cool partnerships that I can't say too much about right now, but there's more and more interest coming from the athletic side, so that's always good to see. But I have to say, like, our biggest focus has just been on the fitness, kind of this general fitness market where, you know, people are trying to achieve specific fitness goals, and that's kind of like what led to this and refining our kind of flagship system. We redesigned it to kind of cater to specific or 3 specific fitness goals, whether you know, this is based on years of feedback from customers looking to either get lean, get toned, a lot of people are, you know, trying to lose weight. And then you got your group that's trying to build strength, which is actually very interesting and unique, because very rarely would jump ropes be used for strength until you start introducing like really heavy ropes, like 1 pound, 2 pound, 3 pound ropes, like we've done. So, you know, that's our biggest focus, and, you know, we've had a lot of success, and it's been great. Great to see, at least for me personally, because this ties back to my Bloom to Fit days, is just hosting. What we do is we host a lot of free fitness challenges, and it's incredible to watch every time. It's a 30-day challenge. Like I said, it's free. We provide tons of resources. We bring in other partners to add, you know, a little spice to it, add some extra resources, and we really try and provide, you know, these people with everything they need to kind of really get some great results over 30 days. And, you know, we monitor that. We, you know, guide them through give them all the workouts, everything they need, and it's by the end of the 30 days, which is actually a really short period of time. It's incredible to see the transformations and just the I guess positive comments and feedback that come in through our community. Is, to me, that's always been the most exciting part, and that's just grown. We've had, you know, the challenges started small with, you know, maybe 1,000 people would take part, and now we're getting like regularly 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people participating in every challenge. And it's just, you just get to see how something like this can actually impact somebody's life. When you see somebody saying, you know, they've dropped this many, you know, sizes, or they lost this much weight, or they feel this much better, or they have this much more energy to do, you know, whatever is important to them, like that is actually really exciting. It's what really, I think, motivates us.
And where can you find these challenges, and where can you buy these ropes?
So Well, the easy answer is just on our website. Everything everything we do is on our site, so you can always visit CrossRope.com. We have a free training app, so we've been focusing on that a lot lately, trying to enhance the experience. Everything has just been about trying to deliver the best jump rope experience possible. If you're interested in any of the challenges, if you're interested, we have a lot of workouts on our stories. Like I mentioned, we interview a lot of our own customers and people in our community to get their stories, to see how jumping rope has impacted them. So all of that can be found on our blog, but crossrope.com will basically give you all of that. So we really try and go above and beyond like the expectations. So CrossRope is much more than just a jump rope, and that's something that we're really passionate about. Is at the end of the day, we're here, we're trying to help people get from A to B, right? They have certain fitness goals that they have in mind, and we're trying to give them the tools and the resources they need to succeed, and the accountability. Like that is one kind of thing that grew organically, but we have, I'd say, one of the most engaged and really one of the fastest growing I've seen online communities. It's a private Facebook group. We have over 20,000 members in there, and if you're ever in need of like motivation or inspiration or accountability, which I feel a lot of people are missing as one of those ingredients in a successful training program, is they don't have the accountability. So as soon as it gets tough and you don't have anybody to keep you accountable on that journey, it's really easy to to stop or give up or kind of lose focus. So that has really been a powerful factor for everyone who's participated in these challenges. You come in, you share your progress. Once you see like 10, 20, 30 people posting their results for the day's workout, you feel kind of personally accountable to get it done for yourself. And even this last challenge, all of us, not all of us, but at least 3 or 4 of us at the company did the challenge with everybody else. And
I want to try it. Yeah.
You should try it. So we're going to be running another one in January. So we're going to do a New Year challenge.
Okay. How often are the challenges?
So we do one every quarter.
Okay.
Kind of like first one in the New Year in January, then in April and July and October, I think are the dates. So those are our big challenges, and then we host a lot of other free events in our community. We do performance challenges. These are actually really fun because with jump ropes you can do a lot of interesting things. So we kind of created this
like your video.
Yeah. So it's kind of what we do is we created this like track and field events for jump rope training. So if you picture like 100-meter sprint, 200-meter run, 400-meter run.
So do you jump and
so it's not, and it has nothing to do with running, but it's like for an example would be like a 250J 1 pound event. So the objective would be 250 jumps as fast as you can with a 1 pound rope.
Okay.
Right? So it's very simple. You can use any skill you want. There's some that work better than others. But the idea is it's all about speed. And when you start introducing resistance, if you're using a 1 pound rope, it's very different than your traditional jump rope. And so we have all these leaderboards and people are posting their times, and it's starting to get very competitive. So we got a lot of people they'll be emailing us 5 times. Did you get my time? Did you get my time? They want to see their names on the leaderboards. And it's interesting how competition drives people to action. It's incredible. So we do a lot of events like that. Those are a lot of fun. And then we have kind of a challenge that runs all year round. So if you come in, it's February, let's say, and you're looking for something to do, we have a 30-day challenge that you can basically start and stop as you please. So a lot of people do that challenge. It's kind of takes a little bit from all of our other challenges, so it's a great place to get started. Whether you have a jump rope system or not, you can use whatever rope you want. That's not our objective. This is a great system, and a lot of the people have got great results. Got them because they had the ability to mix and match different weights of ropes. So if you use a single rope, you're still going to see great results. The idea is just to give you the tools and the resources and the accountability so you actually stick through it. I feel that's the toughest part today is just sticking to something.
And I think the biggest difference between that people don't know is you can find weighted ropes like at Walmart, but it's the handles that are weighted.
Yeah.
So the rope is just like a flimsy thing.
Yeah,
so why is it better that the rope is weighted?
Yeah, that's a good question because we get that actually a lot. People think that our handles are weighted. I mean, they're a little heavier than your traditional, but they just needed to be designed that way for the system. But the problem with weighted handles is they throw off your rhythm and timing and coordination. The advantage of having the weight in the ropes, apart from actually it's all encompassing. When you have the resistance kind of rotating around your body as it's in the rope, that requires it does a couple things. But first, and this is actually something we discovered as after we introduced this, it's actually the added weight is great for beginners. So a lot of people think you want to start light and progress heavy. What we found, we do a lot of workshops, we do a lot of clinics and online stuff, and we find that as soon as you start introducing some weight to your ropes, now you suddenly start feeling the rope as it's turning around your body. And the problem with a lot of your PVC or plastic cheap ropes that you'd get is that they're really light. If you've ever tried it, it's light, which is good, but if you're a beginner, and especially if you're struggling with coordination or timing, once the rope starts turning, you start to lose feel of where it is. And the problem with that is you don't know how to time your jumps properly. So when you start introducing our heavier ropes, so for example, this is our half-pound rope right here. So it's got a little bit of resistance to it, and once it starts turning, you can start feeling it. So it slows down your rotation. You can start feeling it turning. So it's not too heavy. I mean, half-pound doesn't sound like a lot, but as soon as you start turning that rope, and that's especially gets more pronounced. I got some cool stuff to show you. Especially gets pronounced as it starts turning, and you can start feeling it. You can start timing your jumps better, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Because then when we put that into give that to someone who's never jumped before or who's struggled in the past, suddenly they know when to jump, and you can just see their eyes light up like, I can do this. Because this is one of those. This is a skill-based exercise, and if you, a lot of people get frustrated that they can't do it and they give up on it. So starting a little bit heavy has been a great approach to kind of learning. And then as you start progressing with your skills, that's when the advantage of having the weight in the ropes really comes into play. Now you have to start controlling the rope more. That engages more muscle groups, and it just helps you achieve more kind of with every rotation. It's really fascinating.
So I'm excited to hear about this.
For sure. So
it's called the Infinity.
So this is the Infinity rope system. So what we launched our original system. We've had actually a couple of revisions since the start of the company. This would be like the third major revision. But this is we've basically taken our flagship system and redesigned like every single component. And this came through a ton of feedback from customers, feedback from people in our community, and what we really wanted to do was create a system that was durable, and that was it ties back to this experience thing. Like we're always talking about experience. Like if I was to give this to you, like what does it need to have for you to feel like this is the best jump rope experience I've ever had? And that's how we took this kind of redesign and rebranding feel. So what we created, I'll show you how this looks. This is what we call our Get Lean set. So we have two sets right now.
Okay.
We have the Get Lean set. It comes with the two lighter ropes.
Okay.
It's the 1/4 pound Infinity rope. That's the green one here. And then it comes with the white half pound Infinity rope that we talked about. And then you get your we call these our slim handles. Okay. So we've redesigned these completely. We've given them a new ergonomic look, so and shape. So when somebody holds them, they actually feel really nice and comfortable in your hands. But more than anything, it's the performance of these. So you got some really high quality bearings in there. Everything about jump rope training is about how smooth it feels when it's rotating it around your body, right? And so what we always use to judge, and we sometimes, I guess we're just geeks about this, we'll just stand there and we'll honestly just watch this thing spin, because it just shows the quality and this thing will honestly, if you give it enough momentum, will probably go for minutes.
So if you can't see this, if you're not watching it, you're listening to it. Basically, he's holding the part of the handle where you attach the rope, and he's spinning the actual handle.
So it's just, ball bearings have been around forever, but we really wanted to create a top-notch handle. This is essentially the central point of your experience. It's what you're holding. It's what's connected to the rope. And then what we've done is we've redesigned completely the connection system. So our previous system was great, got the job done, everybody loved it, but we really, when you're training with different weights of ropes, and let's say you want to switch between light and heavy, some of our workouts tell you, 30 seconds with your quarter pound rope, then you're going to switch to 30 seconds with your 1 pound rope or your half pound rope, and you keep switching kind of like, so you need to be able to do that quickly and efficiently. And so we wanted to create a mechanism that allowed you to do that. And so you probably can't see this if you're not watching it, but the idea is that you just clip it in and clip it out, and then you can just simply switch your ropes on the fly.
Okay, so it's a clip. So you just squeeze it, and then
so you just clip it in. It's attached to the rope, and then you got that feeling. So it's a really well designed system. A lot of work went into creating this. A lot of work went into creating the look and feel that we think will ultimately deliver that premium experience that has never really been around, we feel, in the jump rope space when it comes to fitness enthusiasts. We're rebuilding our app.
So there's an app, there's a tutorial, and it says on here, take the Get Lean Jump Rope Challenge. So
how that works is, you get this package. Usually, like if you go to a department store and you pick up a jump rope, you got yourself a jump rope, and then, you kind of figure it out from there, right? So what we're trying to do is, within this box and what we deliver through our app, we're trying to give you, even if you've never jump rope before, everything that you need to actually, coming back to it again, actually get from point A to point B. Right?
Yeah,
so
it's good. So you're not left alone. You have a guiding system.
So you're going to get this package. You're going to download the free app. It's going to walk you through a tutorial. You're going to get to see, best practices. And we're going to walk you through some basic technique stuff. It's still going to take a little bit of time and practice, and we guide you through that stuff through our tutorials on how to get really good at using the rope. And that's kind of the beauty of jump rope training. It's not something you just pick up and suddenly you get it and that's it. There are people in our community that have been jumping for years, and they're still progressing. You're constantly learning new skills, new ways of doing things, and unlike some other forms of training, it's a lot of fun. It's what keeps it really fun. People are excited when they actually learn a new skill, and they're excited when they progress. From a double hop, for example, which it's kind of like your playground exercise that we're trying to, where you jumping twice between every rotation, and then watching people kind of progress to double unders, and just seeing their excitement when they learn new things is fascinating. So that's, I think, just a hidden benefit of jump rope training that most people don't even know about. And now when you're able to switch between different ropes, which our app shows you how to do, it shows you how to and then most importantly, it gives you the workouts that you need to actually see results. So whether that's what we're talking about here, take the Get Lean Jump Rope Challenge, is you actually get a full 30-day challenge in the app. So you got your tool, you walk through a tutorial, you got the basics down, you practice a little bit. When you're ready, you take the challenge that actually gives you the workouts you need to see results. So it's the full experience.
So this is the Get Lean system. So if you want to build strength and bulk up, how is that different than this one? Right.
So what we've done is, this is our Get Lean set. We also have a Get Strong set. And the Get Strong set is contains the 2 heavier ropes. So that comes with the 1 pound rope and the 2 pound rope.
Is the handle the same?
No, the Get Strong set comes with our power handles, and they're designed differently. They have, they kind of, if you imagine like holding a dumbbell where it kind of curves like this,
so where it curves out. Okay.
It curves, so the thickest part is in the middle. And based on the research that we've done, that was the best grip ergonomically for controlling heavier ropes. Like you really need a lot of strength to be able to turn a rope, particularly as your speed increases. So turning a rope, and it's fun to watch because we did a couple trade shows. We went to the one that we went to, I think, was the Arnold Classic in Ohio, and it had there were 200,000 people there. A lot of them were like these big guys walking around, and so we had this big booth, and we set up like one half of our booth to be like this challenge section. And what we do is we called it the intensity challenge. That was our previous name of our 1 pound rope, and the challenge was simply do as many jumps as you can in 60 seconds. And it was absolutely fascinating to watch these big burly guys struggling with it after 30 seconds, because nobody realized, if you've never done it before, it blows your mind to see how much effort is required or how much effort is exerted to turn a 1 pound and especially a 2 pound rope at a fast pace for an extended period of time. It is not an easy feat. And so those 2 ropes in particularly, and the handles that come with them, are designed to build strength, not necessarily build muscle. I think muscle building is its own thing, but definitely strength endurance. And especially when you get both sets together, we sell them as a package as well as a Get Fit bundle. You kind of get best of both worlds. You get your light ropes and you get your heavy ropes. And now when you start mixing and matching all of those, you can really start tackling a lot of different areas. So you can start, doing your HIIT workouts with lighter ropes and heavier ropes. You can do longer duration workouts with the lighter ropes if you want to just do some low intensity sessions. Or you can just go straight up to the power and start, doing shorter sessions with a 2 pound rope. Like you can really start mixing and matching, and that's a lot of a big part of what makes it, fun, is that there are endless combinations with what you can do with these. So.
And another thing I wanted to just mention is if there's someone who's 6'4" and someone who's 5'2", me, can we use the same rope? Do you have different rope sizes?
No, so we have different sizes. We have 4 different sizes, and they're all based on your height, like you said. So you would be a small. Okay. Ileana's a small. Yeah. And the sizes really depend on the height, but there are a lot of gray areas. A lot of that's definitely one of the questions that we get a lot is what size is best for me. And
so do you have a height range?
Yeah, well, on our website you can see there's a sizing table. You can see you fall under this range, you're medium or you're large or you're extra large. So some jumpers, like for example, personally I fall under the large section at 6 feet tall, but I really like using mediums because it allows me to generate more speed, but I have less room for error. So it's just kind of, you can start playing around with it. As your skills progress, you can start going shorter, and it's going to allow you to generate more speed. But if you're just getting started, or it's not really, your skills aren't there yet, then you go with the size that's recommended, and it's typically there aren't any issues with that.
Okay. And I know we had to do this podcast later in the day because you said you work like super long days. For people who aren't entrepreneurs yet or don't really understand what it is to be one, what do you do all day? Like, why can't you just like stop at 5 p.m. and then go home?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I got to taste kind of both worlds. I was in the corporate space for about 4 or 5 years in the engineering field, and a lot of that was 9 to 5 or whatever the typical hours may be. But a part of me has always been kind of, I'm always doing something. Like I'm always driven, like even if I'm not at work, I'm going to be working on my blog when I'm home or something. So part of it is just, and I think a lot of that came from, well, my parents. It came from my exposure to engineering in school, because it was an intense amount of work that had to be condensed into a really short period of time. So you just had to learn how to manage working, studying long hours. So I had it in me. But, when I transitioned into working with CrossRope, it's a completely different mindset. My mind is on CrossRope like 24/7. Like it's unreal.
Not 24/7, 25/7. Okay.
When I wake up, it's the first thing I think about, and it's usually one of the last things I think about before going to bed. But, I actually love that. Like I found something
that you're passionate about.
It's like, I feel like passion doesn't even do it justice, because it's something that I know the effect. I can see everything that I touch has an end effect on a person, and to me that is really motivating. And we've got a great team, and it's really fun working with them. So there's really if you want to create or be successful at anything, doesn't matter whether it's entrepreneurship or not, or something else, like there is nothing, in my opinion, that beats hard work. And I've seen that in school. I was never the smartest, but I definitely worked the hardest, and I got through it. I see it in basketball. There are kids that are far less talented, and some of the, more talented kids that made it further because they just put in the work. And it ties into business as well, and entrepreneurship. And, I'm fortunate that I love the product. I use it every single day. Like it's just a part of me.
So you use it, when do you use it? Like every morning before going to work, or?
No, so different times. My own workout routine is very versatile. Like I use a lot of different, like I mentioned, I use kettlebells. I love my strength training, but jump ropes always fall into the mix. It's always used as a warm-up tool. After strength training, it's always used as, short, like high intensity or interval stuff. So I love doing Tabatas. I love doing circuits. So I'll mix and match up, but I'll always find a way to incorporate it into my own workouts. And sometimes if you just, you had a long day, like I don't even consider it sometimes a workout, but you just, I have a lot of friends who jump rope as well, and they use it as a meditation tool.
Oh, okay.
They'll go and they'll just put their tunes on and they'll zone out for like 45 minutes and just do some light jumping, and you get a good workout in, plus you just kind of you zone out for a bit, you relax. So different people use it for different things. For me, it's more often than not, I like to push the pace with the ropes, so it's a lot of high intensity stuff for me.
Okay. Yeah. So you always manage to fit it in your day somehow, or more or less?
For me, it's not necessarily about the jump ropes. For me, it's my lifestyle has always been around do something active every day.
Okay.
Even coming here, like, that was being active today. It took me an hour to walk here, but I love it. Like,
so you walked all the way here?
I walked because, I'm always looking for a way to do something active, and I feel like if you have that mindset, it doesn't really matter, what, I feel like people get stuck in like, what routine should I do, or what program should I do?
Yeah.
And at least from what I've learned from my experience and, talking to a lot of people, consistency is what matters. Doesn't, some programs are more effective than others. But if you find something that you really enjoy doing, then you're more than likely going to be consistent with it. And that's kind of what we try and focus with this is, how do we make this fun? Like, how do we make this really fun and enjoyable for people? Like, I still play basketball, and I'm always talking to my friend. We always play ball on Mondays, and I'm like, it's really interesting that no matter what is going on, we always make our way to play basketball every single week on Monday.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
We can't, like, it's like one of the best days of the week because we just love it so much. And I'm always thinking, how can I take that and how can I integrate that into like a training system or, you know, or our challenges? How do we make it so fun for people? Like, for example, those performance events I was telling you about earlier where people are competing.
Yeah.
I can't tell you like how excited people get around those because they just can't wait to go and see what their time is going to be or where they're going to place in the leaderboard. And competition is part of it, but more importantly, I think they just found something that they enjoyed. Like, and I think that's important because people, when they think about exercise, it's often like, oh, I have to do it, or you know, I need to go to the gym. And I try to look at it, you know, and everyone has their days, but I try to look at it positively. That's a positive part of my day. Like, I'm excited to go to the gym. I'm excited to see how well I
changing
can.
your mindset. Yeah.
Right. And actually finding the trick is finding something that you're going to enjoy. You know, not everybody's going to enjoy jump rope training. Not everyone's going to enjoy strength training. If sports is your thing, that's great. Like, if it means it's going to excite you enough to get you out, you know, put your shoes on and get out the door, like that is success. Like that gets the job done. So whatever you can find that you enjoy, you can have fun with, you're gonna be more than likely successful with because you're gonna be consistent with it. That's what I think.
And that's really cool that before you even started working with CrossRope, you already had this mentality of fitness, and this goes so well with your lifestyle and with what you wanted. So
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny
it
how
just went
I
super
don't know.
well
I don't know
together.
how that stuff like that in life plays out.
I think it's like your mentality. Like, you put it out there. Are you still working on your blog? Or
no, the blog is still live, but you know, I'd say it's probably been a year since I've just reshifted my focus on this because it's just been the potential has always been there. And you know, Dave as well, like, you know, he got out of the Navy, which was a really tough thing to do.
Yeah.
But
how did he think of this?
So, you know, I haven't really mentioned Dave as much, but you know, sometimes I think my lucky stars I got to meet this guy because he's one of the smartest, most generous, most genuine, like, people that I've ever met. Like,
Nice.
You know, and it's funny because we worked together online for about a year and a half, 2 years, just kind of like when I said we were doing our parallel things, helping each other out.
Before meeting, or did you meet?
Before meeting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so this was probably I might get my years mixed up, but it could have been like 2013 or 2014, one of those years. He's like, hey, listen, like, I'm going to do this trade show in San Diego. You know, we're going to do an URSA trade show. You want to come down and help me out, right? And I was like, yeah, I want to come help you out. That sounds like fun. And then I remember like getting on the plane and, you know, I'm heading to San Diego and I land and I'm waiting outside and I'm like, starts hitting me like, it's like, this thing better be real. Like, you know, like it's like one of those moments. I was like, this is so strange. Like, only in today's day and age could something like where you can work with someone for 2 years, you know, talking on Skype all the time, sharing ideas, like real friendship, and then before ever meeting, and then you kind of like, you have this like in-person meeting, and it was kind of strange. It was like, I felt like I knew him, like it was normal.
Okay.
You know, and he rolled up, picked me up.
And it was real.
It was real. You know, and we talked a lot. It was kind of like you just took all our conversations on Skype and then just became, you know, it's strange how that works. But yeah, he's, you know, we got a chance then, since then we did more trade shows and he'd fly up to Toronto sometimes. I'd come down to North Carolina, or we'd go to some third place for a conference. So we find time to meet up and do things, and it's always a blast. But, you know, he came to our wedding this year.
Nice.
So yeah, it's just, he's been a really positive influence in my life. Obviously, he created the system that now I get to use and try and share with the world. And it's been a blast. I always tell him, like, this has been like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, apart from Ileana.
Yeah, Ileana is his wife. So
Yeah.
I went to university with her and actually DJ'd their wedding.
Yeah, she was really good. So if you guys need a DJ for a wedding, no joke.
Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about Dave. He knows how to run a business. He knows how to run a team. Always something new to learn from him. So that would be, if you are, looking to get into entrepreneurship or start a business or look for mentors, like look for people, that you can learn from, that can positively influence you, even if whatever that working relationship is. I learned a ton from him before we ever worked on CrossRope together. So there are a lot of people out there doing really, really cool things, and sometimes it just takes like reaching out, seeing who needs help, and just finding something. Again, this everything kind of lined up, and this has become just a big part of my life because of my lifestyle. Even coming into it, like everything just kind of made sense to me. So yeah, look for people that can positively influence you.
Yeah,
for sure.
So how did he think of the product?
Yeah, so I mean, Dave's got like this like mind that just doesn't stop. He's always coming up with ideas. But anyway, his background actually, he's a track athlete. He did high jump. He's always been into fitness and training, and I don't know what year it was, but probably like 2009, 2010 time frame, he tore his pectoral muscle, and so that put him out of commission. But it also gave him time to pursue something, and he always wanted to build a business.
Okay,
like,
so that's nice. He found the positive in a, I guess, negative situation.
Right. And so he's jumped rope before, and he's also has an engineering mind, and he instantly noticed, like, the jump rope space, like, these jump ropes just suck. Like, they're always breaking, especially like the heavy ropes. It's not the first heavy rope ever. Like, Muay Thai, they've been using their own heavy ropes. When I went to Thailand, they had a heavy rope there that was kind of like this plastic PVC tubing glued to like a wooden handle. It was very DIY. Very DIY style, yeah. And so the problem is, you get like 10 jumps in, this thing's like already wants to tear your wrist off because there's no free spinning. Like, so the jump ropes, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of great jump ropes, but there weren't any great heavy jump ropes. And so he's, that's what kind of gave him this idea that, hey, why don't we create a better heavy jump rope, but also let's create this, what he calls the interchangeable jump rope system, where you can interchange between different ropes. And that's how CrossRope came around. And even the name, I mean, originally came from the idea of being able to cross train, using different weights of rope. So that unfortunate event of tearing his pectoral muscle, gave him the time to create this, and to really, and I remember seeing the pictures of this thing. It was honestly just cables attached to nunchucks. Like, it was the first prototype was we still have photos of it, and I still have even like actual original handles that are always fun to look at. But it was, for him, it was really interesting because, he had a young family, he had a wife, he had, young kids. They just moved to a new place, no friends, no family, because he got restationed, and here he is, starting to try and like build this thing. And
that's hard at first.
It was very, when he tells me those stories, it was, sometimes it makes me think of all the challenges that we're facing, today, or that we face this year. And it's like, if he got through that, like, we can get through this. He's got, young children crying, and he's trying to talk to a web developer from India, like trying to fix some stuff. Like, it's just, Like, I don't know how he did it, but
we'll have to have him on the show later.
Oh yeah, he's definitely worth having on the show for sure.
Nice.
So yeah, that's just been Dave's story, and he continues to kind of evolve and grow as a leader, and like I said, always something new to learn from Dave.
So what's the biggest lesson you've learned throughout this experience of working with CrossRope?
Oh man, there have been a lot of lessons, big and small. For me personally, I think the lesson, what I mentioned earlier about hard work, like really stays true when you're trying to build a brand, when you're trying to build a business, when you're really trying to solve a problem or a pain point for customers. Like, there's a lot of work that goes into creating a system like this, and it's just I sometimes you sit back and you're like, well, when is it gonna get easier, right? And back in my mind, like, the answer is always like, I probably never will. Like, you'll always, as you grow, you're gonna face new challenges, but nothing beats, like, you can't get away from hard work. And I think for me, going back and to the point that you gotta love what you do, like, love your product, love your customers, love the problem that you're, like, the solution that you're providing, the problem that people have, it makes the hard work worth it and makes it easier. Apart from that, there have been a lot of lessons. I'd say, for me, the biggest growth has come from being this kind of solo marketing team, kind of like doing all the strategy and executing on everything, to kind of transitioning more to a leadership role, I guess. We brought on new people into the marketing team.
How many people did you add on?
So this year we added 2. So we have, the company as a whole has added more, but the marketing team is only 3 people right now. And so we've got still got a lot on our plates. But for me, it's just, how do I find ways to motivate the team, to inspire them, like, to, give them the tools and resources they need to really crush their jobs. So that's been a big, and I think it's just, that transition is challenging because it's not an easy switch, especially if you're used to, like, when I was in school, I was the kind of guy who I wanted to, if I was in a group project, I'd just be the guy that's just let me do this whole thing. Like, I don't trust you guys. And then now I got put into this, into this position where I can't do that. You got to trust your teammates. You got to trust people that they're going to do as good or even a better job than you are. And that takes time. And that's, this year has allowed me to kind of grow into that. Still got a lot of room for improvement. We're as a company, even, like, we have these core values, and one of them is about attention to detail. And it's everything that we do, like, every single component, like, everything that we do online, like, everything is heavily scrutinized. Like, we're our own biggest critics. Makes us difficult to work with sometimes, like with vendors, when we're, like, very nitpicky. And I try and instill that in the team. Like, everything that you do, you got to own. Everything that you do, you got to put through your own, like, high standards. And then, we just expect, like, full attention to detail, right? And it's, I think it differentiates us from other brands when you see some of the stuff that they put out, and you're like, how did this come out? And we have our own, we put so much on our own plate. We have this funny thing, like, just put it in the queue, and this queue is like 1 million items long. It's a question now of how do you prioritize and how do you figure out what's most important. But anyway, that's that's one of the things that have just been a learning curve. How do you become a really good leader? Like, team's only going to get bigger. How do you get them to just own their position? Like, it's not easy, but it's a fun challenge for sure.
And how do you manage, like, if you want to pay attention to detail, which I think is really good, but you have, like, 1 million things to do, and some things just need to get done. Like, how do you decide what should have more attention, what should have more detail than others? Do you ever just do something to get it done, or do you make sure that motto is in every single thing?
So yeah, there's definitely a balance there. I mean, if you're going to be a perfectionist about everything, it's going to be really difficult to finish stuff and ship stuff. So you have to find that balance. I think it's just a progression. So what we always talk about is, okay, we got to get this done by this date. And we have these resources, what is the max that we can get? And if the situation is like, okay, we can get an 80% solution done, right? Here's the 80% version of what this could look like. And then to get it shipped out. And so it's not perfect, right? But we know that, okay, with what we have and the time that we've set, this is the best that we can do, and that's what we aim for, right? But one of our other core values is just this constant 1% improvement. Like everything that we do, that's done again. So we run another challenge. Like what is a 1%? So Dave talks about that a lot. I know he's picked it up from other places, but it's kind of like this 1% mentality just in life.
Okay.
If you're constantly looking for very small improvements in different areas of your life, the compounding effects of that are tremendous, right? If you found one, and this is what we try to instill in people for their particular roles. So if you're the one who's creating, let's say a challenge, let's say for October, take everything you've learned from that. What is a 1% improvement that you can put towards January, right? And so that then rolls out. If somebody is doing a social media campaign and, they have a hypothesis, they execute on it, they learn on it, then what can you do a little bit better next time? So it's just kind of like this constant mentality, and that's kind of helped us, when you get more resources, we've found third-party solutions like, design agencies or whatnot that can help you get from, there's a certain threshold you pass where the 80% solution is no longer good enough. We put a lot of resources into creating this because we know what's necessary based on feedback to deliver a premium jump rope experience, right? It can't look like crap, because every single touch point has to be cohesive. And so, that's just something we've evolved to. That's not how it always was. There's a time when we were just shipping them in boxes because that was just at that time the best that we could do. And so you just kind of progress, and eventually you'll have more resources. You'll know how to do things better. All of those 1% will add up to more time savings, better results.
So the core values, were they already there before you joined the partnership, or did you think of them together? How did you come up with them?
No, they were definitely not there. The core values are actually relatively new. And so at least the current ones we have. The current ones we have only been here, a few months. And so, but they didn't just come from scratch. So we've had our core values, that were appropriate for like our last year's core values. They were there, but they didn't end up serving the purpose that they were intended to serve. Like core values, and where they came from. I mean, when you look at all the big, successful companies, and you search up, the Netflix core values or Amazon core values, and you see these are the filters they use or the guidelines they use to make any decisions in the firm, whether they're hiring based on core values, firing based on core values, deciding on projects based on core values, and so they're very important for acting as a filter, because as you grow, you're gonna have, like you said, so many things on your plate, and our queue is endless. And we try and use this, and you start bringing in new people. Like we put them through a core values, questionnaire and interview. When we do our progress reports, we say, hey, rank yourself on these core values. Like where can and we all do the same, right? So it's relatively new for us, and it's just something that has come from reading tons of books. Like we're both Dave and myself pretty avid readers. We read a lot of business books.
Okay.
So core values are talked about in a lot of different ways. A lot of people have talked about those, but for us, we took some time, the leadership team, and we sat down and we said, okay, based on our experience, what are some of the core values of employees, that we've had experience with that we truly valued, we took all that big list, refined it, and we got our core values that we now really feel really, really good about. The whole team's kind of jumped on board with it, and it's just about finding ways to integrate that into every area of your business and life. I mean, everybody should have their own core values. That's another lesson I've kind of learned.
And you touched on this a little bit, but since you studied engineering, was it difficult to get into the marketing aspect? Like, how did you learn how to manage the marketing of a new company?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends that are marketers, and I can definitely tell you I have a long way to go to become, a really good marketer. I find that marketing is interesting. It's got its mix of the technical side, especially for us, we're all, pretty much all of our sales come through our website. So it's all online sales. So a lot of our marketing channels are digital channels. And so there's a lot of technical execution there, which I've always been fascinated about from my high school days. Like I talked about, building websites, building all sorts of things. And so that part really fascinated me. So, that's where the execution side came from it. The strategy side, I didn't really know when I came in, and Dave didn't either. We had a good idea of what kind of worked, and we just, we tried things. We were really good at trying things, seeing how they worked, and then moving on to the next thing. It was kind of figure it out as you go. And then, a lot of it is experience, trial and error. A lot of it is reading books. I'm fascinated. I've read a ton of marketing books, psychology books, trying to figure out, at the end of the day, I mean, you're just trying to solve somebody's problem. And so figuring out how to position your product as the right solution to that product or to that problem. I mean, there are many ways to do that, but it can be simplified. And so, there's, like I said, there's still a very long way to go. And I'm always, like I said, seeking for help from my, friends who are in the marketing space. There are some very, very talented people here in Toronto that you can always learn from. So how I transitioned, I think I focused on what I was good and confident with, and that was the technical side, and I let the rest of it just kind of fall into place, and figured it out through trial and error, and still figuring it out through trial and error.
Yeah, well, that's life and business in general.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I'm sure I always ask myself, if I was to go back to school, what would I do? And I had an opportunity to, let's say, do a business degree or a marketing degree. I'd still choose engineering. I feel like it builds the foundation. Anyone can learn anything these days in our part of the world. You can just pick up a book, you can go online, anything can be learned. It's not the knowledge that I feel is lacking. I feel it's the work ethic and really knowing how to learn something. I feel that's what engineering taught me. So
how do you learn?
Well, that's a good question. It really depends on it's not necessarily the tactics for how to learn something. It's more so building, having I think a curious mind. I was very interested in the technical aspects of marketing, and that really fascinated me, and that drove me to read a ton of books and do a lot of courses, and really do a deep dive into a lot of this stuff. So I had a thirst for it, I had a curious mind for it, and so in terms of how engineering related to that, it was really just the mindset that this is what all these countless hours is what it takes to learn something. So I'm sure there could have been maybe smarter, more efficient ways to do things. And if I could go back, learning from other people would be definitely one of the things I would have done differently. And that's something I'm looking to do more so in 2018, finding mentors, finding coaches. I think that's one area I wish I would have known about earlier, but you can't really wish on those things, is if you want to learn something or achieve something, you got to find somebody who's done that and invest in that.
Yeah.
And I find like that is the best and fastest way to achieve something. Like time is the real currency here. So for me, it's like, okay, what are the areas in my life that I really want to improve in, right? So, the marketing side, there are a lot of things I would learn. So I found somebody to be a coach, to be a mentor, to act as, sounding board for a lot of the things that a lot of the challenges that I'm facing, someone who's more experienced than I am. So to me, that's a worthwhile investment, because I know by the end of the year, I'm going to be much better off than had I not done that.
Yeah.
So to me, that's one area, fitness, for example. I a lot of the money, a lot of my, my wife calls me frugal, but I think there are certain things, that I don't really care about, and so I don't spend money on them. But there are some things that I'm really passionate about, like, so for example, fitness, and training. I invested a lot of money in programs and equipment, and I'll never hesitate to do that because it's something that's really, really important to me. So that's another area that I've been thinking about. Even if you're good at something, or if you've been doing something for a long time, there may be value in getting a coach and getting someone who's either more experienced or has a different perspective. So
yeah, you'll get better a lot faster than doing it on your own.
Exactly, sure. Which really depends on your goals. If you really want to achieve at something, I feel coaching. And I can't say this from experience because I haven't done it, but I can say for sure the opposite. It's slower than when I talk to friends who have gone through the coaching or stuff like that. It's a lot faster. Like when they've worked under mentors, right? So they've had this, a lot of my friends in the marketing space, they've had this advantage of working under people that are, brilliant marketers. They've done it before, they know what works, and so they can just kind of like soak all of that in.
Yeah.
For me, and Dave wasn't a marketer, he's a brilliant guy, and I've learned a lot of other things from him. But from the marketing side, we just kind of figured it out as we went along. And so that's something where if you have the opportunity to invest in, that's something I would do, and I will do. Yeah.
Where did you find your marketing mentor? So
it's a friend of mine, but that I've known for a while. But I think how it all happened was, I think in about March or even earlier this year, I started hosting marketing meetups, right? Okay. So if anyone wants to check it out, it's the Toronto Internet Marketers. So we do monthly. We haven't done a couple in a couple of months because of CrossRope Q4, but through that, I was hosting all these events. I had a lot of people who were interested come out, and through that we kind of, myself, a friend of ours, Wilson, a few other people, we started creating this mastermind group together. And it wasn't anything like official or formal. It was just 4, 5, 6 of us. We'd come together once a month and we'd talk strategy. We'd share through these meetups. We kind of started talking. We had our own little WhatsApp group, and we said, hey, why don't we meet up once a month and just talk about things that are happening in our businesses. We could learn from each other, and it kind of turned into this this little informal mastermind group. And that's where I really started to see like, wow, these guys are like next level. Like the stuff that they're doing in their businesses is incredible. It's fascinating, and I feel like I'm like down here, right? So every time I came in, I I was just like soaking everything up. I was just like constantly writing. So anyway, you can really start to get a sense for who's been there and done that, like who has the experience, who you could really learn from. And, you know, one of them just happened to be a mutual friend. And so, you know, it's kind of funny, like, I always shared my ideas, and he's very patient. He was always like very helpful, gave really good advice. I hooked him up with a set of ropes, so we'd meet up sometimes and we do some workouts together, and he really fell in love with the product. And I'm like, listen, man, like, you know, you've been there, and I need somebody that I can use as a sounding board, that I can talk to about things. And fortunately, he was really loving the product and, you know, and the company, and so he was, you know, he was more than willing to do it. And so we haven't, you know, we've just kind of started. We're kind of like venturing into that. I've never had a coach really since my, you know, days of basketball, but, you know, I feel like that's a little bit different. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm excited. Like, it's kind of like, you know, here's someone who's really been there, and he has a ton of experience on all levels: leadership, strategy, execution, everything that I'm starting to like experience right now that I don't have, you know, much of a framework for. So just kind of like having somebody that you can call and meet with regularly. I'm excited for that, and the value it can bring for me, for our business, and, you know, and for whatever else it may lead to.
Nice.
Yeah.
So some of your goals for 2018. Do you have any other goals you want to share for 2018?
You know, I do set a lot of like goals, different areas of my life. You know, I think what I try and do in like the December time frame is try and take a look back at kind of things I've done in 2017, how I've progressed in certain areas, and what my focus will be in 2018. And so some of those might be in fitness, some of those might be in business, some of those might be in friendships, and, you know, my relationship with Ileana and my family. And so what do I want to achieve in all of those areas? And so one exercise that I learned from my friend Jason Gaynard, he was one of the speakers at the Tim events. You know, he has this thing called like the perfect calendar. And if you're on your computer or whatnot, check out Community Made. That's his community, and he shares this perfect calendar. And it's long story short, it's like this framework that really makes you think about why you're doing the things that you're doing, right? So a lot of the times we'd set a goal because it sounds cool, right? Like, oh, I want to do, you know, let's say a fitness goal. Like, I really want to do 100 push-ups. So everyone's always like, oh, that sounds great. You know, that'd be awesome. And I've had that goal too. Like, and the question is like, well, like, why? Like, what is, by achieving the goal, like, what are you accomplishing? And so it's just a random example. But it's interesting when you start asking that question more and more on the goals that you're setting. Like, asking why I want to achieve that goal, right? So for me, I'll give you an example of a good one. One goal on the fitness side for me would be to improve my mobility. I feel like this day and age, as you can be as active as you want or as you try to be. But if you're busy, if you work a desk job, your mobility is going to suffer. And when your mobility suffers, you're going to suffer in other areas of your performance. So, and I've definitely seen, I'm entering my 30s now, like mobility declines. It takes me longer to recover from workouts or basketball games. So it's like, to me, I can definitely see the decline, and placing a focus and a goal around that is important to me. And when I ask the question why, like, it's very easy to answer, because I want to continue to be able to do things that I love and perform at on the best level that I possibly can. So it's not a like fancy or exciting goal, like I'm gonna be doing some specific stretches or whatever my action items are going to be for that goal, but it's something that I can, when I answer why, like it resonates and makes sense, and so I'm going to do it, right? So it's like just putting kind of everything through that lens. But in terms of other goals, you know, we have a lot of our goals in CrossRope. You know, a lot of 2018 is going to revolve around that. It's going to be a big year for us. We're going to be looking at, you know, get into more into like the classes, for example. Like this year, we were very fortunate. We got picked up by Equinox, so they built their own jump rope cut class built around our ropes. So that was really cool. We got to go down to LA and, you know, take part in one of the classes, and we've been getting like great feedback. So we know that's an area where people are interested. You know, the social side of fitness is really important. And this is a tool that's very easy to build a class around, or so we hope. And so if we can, that's a goal, you know, and there are a lot of other little goals like that, you know, really how do we take this business to kind of like the next level and help more people achieve their results. You know, they all fall typically in the same categories. What do I want to achieve in fitness? What do I want to achieve in my career? What do I want to achieve in my relationships, and whether it be family or more intimate, and what do I want to achieve like from a learning or self-development side of things? Like, what are some new things that I want to learn? You know, is it going to be a new language or something, or maybe something smaller, like I want to read these 5 books, or so it'll be something along those lines.
Okay, nice. And something I just want to highlight from what you said that I thought was really important is you had the why you're doing something, you had the goal, and you also have action items. So things to help you achieve that goal, which is sometimes you have a goal, but then you don't have actions to do that, and your goal just stays a goal and it doesn't get achieved. So I just wanted to highlight that.
And that's good, because I find that goals are sometimes like are big and lofty, and so instead of goals, what I usually focus on, like, goal is a big picture, but what I really try to focus on is the commitments that will lead to that goal, right? So, and they can vary, right? So for me, and these are kind of the things that I try and explore, you know, share with people that might be doing challenges. Like, how can they pick up, they know what their goal is, they want to lose weight. Like, what are some commitments, daily commitments, weekly commitments that they can incorporate into their life that will allow them to achieve that goal? So for example, they can be as simple as drinking a glass of water first thing you wake up, right? So that was, you know, doesn't take a lot of effort. You wake up, you know, more than likely dehydrated. Before you pick up a coffee, before you pick up anything to eat, before whatnot, you know, have a glass of water. Very simple, but very healthy commitment, because what it often does is it leads, you know, you've just done this one small positive act, and that has like this psychological effect where it motivates you to, it's kind of like a snowball, right? It motivates you to do another positive. So it's like when you do a workout, you feel like you want to do something else, like you want to have a better meal. And so it's like, what are these small daily commitments that that you can incorporate into your life that will help you achieve that goal? So that's, to me, like, goals are big and very sometimes intimidating. Like, if you set a goal, I want to lose 20 pounds, okay, I'm going to, you know, my commitments are going to be that I'm going to drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. I'm going to go for, this can be for, you know, any person. I'm going to go for a 60-minute walk 3 times a week. I'm going to, you know, have my first meal at this, like, whatever it is that they might be, that different people will have different commitments. Those are very easy to track, right? Did I have my glass of water today or not?
Yeah.
You know, did I do my 3 workouts this week or not? Or did I do my commitments? If I did, you know, then I'm going to track my progress and see how close I'm getting to my goal. If I'm not progressing, then let me tweak some of the commitments. And I feel like it's a healthier mindset than trying to, like, you know, I'm going to do this diet or that diet or what it might be. So
you'll be a lot more successful doing one small thing.
Yeah,
first,
and that leads to a lot of things. Like I have a lot of friends. Oh, I'm gonna read like 50 books this year. I'm like, well, it's a good goal, with often no plan, right? So for me, it's my commitment would be I'm gonna read 30 minutes a day. I don't care how many books I finish by the end of the year, but if I read 30 minutes a day, that's my commitment to learning. That's gonna materialize in way more than trying to aim for like some random number. So it's just, you can almost take any goal that you want to achieve and break it down into daily or weekly commitments. That's definitely something to look at.
That's awesome. And before we sign off, is there anything that you'd like to add? Or
well, for one, I want to thank you for having me. You know.
Thanks for coming. I loved having you.
Yeah, it was definitely fun to talk about. It brings back some good memories, and it's always fun to revisit the journey.
Yeah.
And celebrate some of the special moments along that journey, because it goes by fast. It's crazy to think that it's already been the years that it's been since we started this. For anybody that is interested in the CrossRope system, we're going to do a fun special here for the
My Best
Life podcast. Sorry. For anyone that's interested, check out crossrope.com/mybestlife. And if you want to save 10% on your order, just use the My Best Life coupon code at checkout, and you can get the brand new system for yourself.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Flav. So this was exciting, guys.
Yeah.
Let's do 2018 right.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. Bye.